Hey, what's going on, guys? Michael Levain here from clouddev.engineering. I hope everybody's feeling all right. We're all obviously going through a really crazy time right now in the world, so hope everybody's doing okay. Hope everybody's families are doing okay. So in this video, I wanted to take a look at Pulumi. And the reason why I wanted to take a look at Pulumi is because I'm getting a lot of requests about it. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are asking me if I'm using it. People are seeing my content around creating infrastructure with not only Terraform, but, other languages like PowerShell and Python, right? So, what I've been doing a lot recently is, say, creating Azure resources with Python, right? Azure has a pretty rich SDK for Python, so I was really curious to kind of see what Pulumi was all about. The only thing that I've done with Pulumi so far is signed up for it. I haven't even logged into it. As you guys know from my other videos, is that this is all raw content based on things that I haven't done yet. So I want to really dive in and kind of see what this is all about. So I guess the first thing is to just log in, right? So go ahead and sign in. Let me just find my credentials really quick. Okay, yeah, actually I don't even have any credentials because I just signed in using GitHub. So I'm going to do the same thing, sign in using GitHub. Get my GitHub password. All right, let's go ahead and sign in here. Okay, so I guess the interesting part that we're seeing so far, right, is like there's not just a standard username and password. Like you're signing in with your GitHub account or something else along those lines, right? And I guess that makes sense because if you're going to be using your code, then you're going to be using your source control, right? So let's go ahead and create a new project. Okay, so it's interesting. Once we create a new project, we can choose a cloud. So the interesting part is we only have AWS, Azure, and GCP. There's no like Oracle Cloud or anything like that, which I guess makes sense because these are the three most popular at the moment. The other thing too that I'm seeing is that there's only a few different languages. And we have our core languages here, right? Like at least we have Python, we have JS, we have C#. But I don't see any PowerShell. I was hoping to see PowerShell here, but that's okay. Go ahead and use Python. We'll use Azure, and then we'll click next. So for the project name, description, it's fine. Stack, enter a name for the project's initial stack. Call this development. For the configuration, public is fine. Location, let's use East US. I'm in Jersey, so it's a little bit closer to me in terms of regions. And we'll go ahead and create this project. So we have to install Pulumi on our machine. Now, the interesting part about installing Pulumi on our machine is it only compatible with Windows? I'm seeing like we could run this from PowerShell to set our execution policy and then to be able to install Pulumi. But like, I don't see anything for like Bash or anything like that. So like, can't run this on OS X. I can't run this on Linux, like a Linux desktop or something. Let's kind of take a look at that. Hold on. So let's open up Google and install Pulumi project on OS X. Okay, so you can. So I guess maybe it must have some intelligence based on the machine that you're currently on. Okay, yeah, okay, so it works. I assumed it did, but you never know, right? So let's go ahead and copy this, bring over PowerShell core. Let's just CD to my desktop. We'll run this. Oh, interesting. Okay. Ooh, I wonder if it can only be run in Windows PowerShell. Let's try to open up Windows PowerShell. Nope. Okay. No characters are allowed after. Okay. So it looks like the command that they give us doesn't work right out of the box, right? So let's try this really quick. Let's go to this install, and I actually already have Chocolatey installed. If you don't have Chocolatey installed, it's just a package manager like Brew or Aptitude or Yum or something like that. So let's go ahead and open up PowerShell again. We'll just install it this way, I guess. Now, the one thing I guess that I'm concerned about is why this doesn't work, right? There is some PowerShell like syntax that it doesn't like, and I'm assuming because it's this @ symbol here, and then this wrapper around it, like that shouldn't be the case. This just means in PowerShell like a literal, right? So another example that I would say is like I would use this for if I'm running SQL commands, right? And like if I want to add a literal, I would just wrap them in an @ symbol and then a double quote. But it's weird that it won't run it like that. I don't know why. So, okay, let's go ahead and install this. But it's just for the install, right? So like I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. But once this is installed, we should be able to pretty much do everything else at the command line. Alright, so now it wants us to create a new directory, which is cool. I'll just do this in my desktop. Run this, okay, pull down your project and get started. So I wonder how it knows that I'm logged in. I wonder if it's gonna like ask me for some like credentials or something. There we go. Okay, cool. It is gonna ask me for credentials. Or enter. Okay, so let's just hit enter. Oh no, it's just gonna ask me for. Yeah, I thought I already authenticated. All right, hold on. Let's try this again. So, same thing. This is gonna be. Oh, your access token. Okay, interesting. So then let's try it like this. Let's go to the web browser. It's gonna pop open in Chrome for me. I'm gonna authenticate with GitHub. Signed in because we already authenticated with GitHub, right? So that's gonna work regardless. We don't need to worry about like generating any tokens or API keys or anything like that because previously we logged in with GitHub. So looks like we're good on that front. So now create a virtual environment, activate it, and install dependencies. Okay. Commands. Okay. So if you guys aren't familiar with Python virtual environments, essentially what it is like, imagine a sandbox, right? So you have a sandbox, and the sandbox has all of your libraries or your modules that you need. And then within that sandbox, you can spin up any application you want, right? But that sandbox doesn't hit your local host. So let's say I'm installing a bunch of Azure Python SDKs, right? In the virtual environment. If I go say try to use them on my local host, right, like outside of that virtual environment, it won't work. So it's like a it's a sandbox, right? So let's go ahead and create this new sandbox here. Now, all right, so we're gonna activate in our virtual environment. So pip reinstall requirements.txt. Like, what are these? I don't know what these requirements are. Oh, like they're actual Pulumi requirements. Okay, that's interesting. So that's coming from Pulumi's SDK for Azure, it looks like here. Yeah. So this is the Pulumi SDK. So like, for example, while this is doing its thing, let's go back to Google here. Yeah, see, this is the SDK associated with Pulumi specifically for Azure. The Pulumi Azure provider packages in CLI help you accomplish. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so that is done. And then all we have to do is run Pulumi up. All right. Previewing update. I wonder if this is going to create some like Hello World application for us or something like that. Let's see. And from what I was reading about Pulumi, again, like this is, I haven't done anything with it except just doing it with you guys, but I think it like puts it in some sort of portal or something for us. So do you want to perform this action? Yes, I do. Oh, is it just going to do the same thing as it did previously? Maybe? No, this is different. Okay, cool. So let's see what happens now. Creating a resource group. Oh, interesting. Okay. So for our stack in Azure, it's going to create a resource group to hold our resources, and it's going to create a specific storage account for it as well. So interesting. Okay. So, okay, I think this is the link that I was referring to. So it looks like our two resources got created, the resource group and the storage account. This is how to access the storage account. Weird that it puts it in plain text like that, but that's okay. Yeah, it would be nice if this output, it didn't show like the specific storage account credentials. It would say like, hey, go here to get the storage account credentials, but that's okay. Okay, so let's go to our portal. Interesting. Okay. Oh, cool. Look at that. Okay, so we have a specific portal, and this portal shows us one. Let's take a look at the stack, right? It even has our storage. See, so I would like this, like if it stored it here in the UI, but it didn't just shoot it out in the terminal. Maybe I'm being too security conscious. Who knows? But it tells us our environment, the location, all of that. Okay, activity. What resources were created. This is pretty cool, right? And then the settings. So we can destroy stuff. So now what I want to do is log into my Azure portal and see those resources. Oh, by the way, guys, this is just like my Azure email address. If you guys want to get in contact with me, it's michael.levan@clouddev.engineering. This is just the account for Azure. So if you email me on this account, I'm probably not going to see it. Go ahead and sign in here. So now if I go to my resource groups, I guess this is it. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like this is it. So I was actually assuming that I would see like something that said like Pulumi or something like that, but that's okay. So it did create our resources. So I'm gonna say this is like the power behind it all, right? So like what Pulumi is actually doing, it's really cool like what Pulumi is doing, right? But really what it is on the back end is it's taking like an SDK, right? Like a C# SDK or a Python SDK or something like that, and creating resources from that, right? So let's say you want to create a storage account or a resource group. What it's going to do is it's going to take the Python Azure SDK and it's going to use it in the back end, but Pulumi is wrapping that Python Azure SDK. So really what Pulumi is doing is already what you can do, right? Like you can already do that. You can already go with the Python Azure SDK and create a resource group or a storage account. So it's not doing anything that you couldn't do before. However, what it's doing is it's creating this pretty cool portal that you can use to manage your resources, and not only you but your team, right? So like your team can manage your resources, and it kind of gives you like that one-stop shop that you can manage your resources. So yeah, this is rather interesting. And then at this point with my resources, it looks like I can create like anything in that resource group, but I could do it from here, right? So I could create any resources that I wanted to and then deploy them from here. I have a graph view as well. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, I hope this was interesting to you guys, because it was definitely interesting to me. Like I said, I never used Pulumi before, but I think I'll definitely play around with it and either maybe make another video of creating some new resources or, you know, a blog or something like that. So thanks for watching, guys.